Hello and welcome to the Central Television. I am Liko Onambanjo. The top stories at this hour. House of Representatives summons Benue Zamfara governors over state security crisis. As the world marks World Press Freedom Day, there are calls to navigate the rapid integration of artificial intelligence into journalism. Gabon's ex-junta chief Brice Nguema sworn in as president after landmark victory at the polls. Details to come your way shortly. Let's begin with security issues. The House of Representatives Committee on Public Petitions has summoned the governors of Benue and Zamfara State, Hyacinth Aliyah and Dauda Lawal, along with their respective state assemblies in response to escalating insecurity in the two states. The summons followed a petition from civil rights group Guardians of Democracy and Rule of Law, which called on the House to resume the constitutional responsibilities of both state assemblies, citing a failure to address the deteriorating security situation. The parties have been scheduled to appear before the committee on Thursday, May 8, to defend their roles in addressing the crisis. Committee Chairman Mike Etaba signed the summons, stating that the parties are fully aware of the issues at hand. He added that the committee's objective is to uphold the rule of law and promote transparency in the handling of threats to public safety. In the meantime, Benue State has for some time remained in the news for the wrong reasons, a state that can be said to be under siege due to continued attacks on communities allegedly by armed herders. With several communities sacked, the impact of this lingering farmer-herder crisis is pushing the state to the brink, as several of the predominantly agrarian communities are now dislodged and unable to take advantage of the farming season. New Central Sagir Ibrahim recently visited some of the affected communities in Benue State to uncover the stories behind the headlines.
It is known as Nigeria's food basket. However, there are growing concerns that it may gradually be losing that reputation. Attacks on agrarian communities across several local government areas in the state have left many farmers displaced and afraid to return to their farms for fear of being attacked or even killed. Ukum and Logo local governments in Sankera are the most recently attacked, with the death toll according to official figures reaching 56, the highest in many months. During our visit to Katsina Ala, also in the Sankera axis, drivers at the Katsina Ala Zakibian Park describe the economic toll the attacks are having on their businesses.
We have issue of security. That is one of our major problems here. Because people are now traveling out. They don't have access to come to market due to all insecurity. That is why this road is always quiet like this. If there is enough security that can guide us, can guide farmers to do work and bring things to the market, there will be enough product here in Katsina.
My vehicle is parked there because of the problem we are having, the challenges of the problem we are having here. And there is no passenger because of the crisis. And people in the villages are not able to move because they are all packed, bundled in the one place because they can't go back to their various places because of the crisis. And some of us that used to apply the road, we are afraid of being killed by those bad guys on the way. And the road also is very bad. Coupled with that, things are becoming very tough.
With reported attacks also in Katsina Ala, Kega Ove and Musa Vange from Shika village lament the lack of access to their farms for the farming season. They say that they are afraid of being attacked and appeal to government for quick intervention. The big problem we have here in Sankera is the herdsmen. We can't go to our farms because anytime we try, they attack and kill our people right there on the farm. The herdsmen come at night and kill many people while they are sleeping. My family and I have been forced to leave our home and now we are staying in town. I want to beg President Bola Tinubu to hear our cry and help us. We need security because right now we can't go to our farms. If we try to go back home, the herdsmen will kill us. Sometimes officials come only after many people have already died. What usually happens is security will come during the day, walk around, and then leave. At night, after they are gone, the herdsmen return and attack our people again. From Katsina Ala to Kwande and then to Bachon village, located in Jatoka district, many residents have fled their communities following attacks by gunmen. With only a few villagers returning, many say they now tend to their farms only during the day and leave before nightfall for fear of further attacks.
We are finding it very difficult even to sleep and even to stay here. It is this week that you can see most of us in this environment. Because normally, if you come here, they will still begin to shoot and start shooting the guns whenever they see any person.
We are afraid of it. We cannot even go close to the river bank. And there is our own matrimonial home that which our great parents live. Now, we are asking the president that they should even narrate it so that even the international communities will help us. But Nigerian government, we think Nigerian government is not doing something better for the community. I'm not even blaming them. I knew they can help us. So I'm pleading that they should help us so that we live friendly.
District head of Jatoka, Muiti Simon Bave, describes the situation as desperate for him and his people, calling for improved security as the few personnel available are not enough.
No person is going to farm till today. We are here in Jatoka here, about 4 districts are here, this place, come and hang out themselves in Jatoka here. If you move about this wire load, this is Gashimbra load, going to Taraba State. If you go about 4 kilometers, you can't move from 4 kilometers, you alone. Let the security people will be accompany you to go there. Our people are desperate. Let him add security here more. They'll call about 500, 200 ones to come and attack us. The army are here, but they're not enough.
According to Governor Hyacinth Alia, 6 local governments in the state remain under heavy attacks by suspected armed herders. This has crippled farming activities in many parts of the state and could negatively affect the state's economy. In Benue, for News Central, Sagir Ibrahim.
Well, you can watch out for the full documentary on the aftermath of the attacks on some Benue communities, according to the findings by News Central on this channel. Well, still on security matters, suspected Boko Haram insurgents have reportedly attacked the 27th Task Force Brigade, Bunigari, in Gujba local government area of the state. This is coming less than 48 hours after the Northeast Governors held its 11th Forum meeting in Damaturu, the Yobe State capital. The residents of Bunigari said that the insurgents who came in the early hours of Saturday targeted the military base. The insurgents had in the last few weeks attacked military formations, destroyed cell coverts along Goneri Road, as well as abducted individuals along the Damaturu-Biu Road. Now, to help us unpack the summons by the House of Reps to the governors of Zamfara and Benue states over the security crisis in their domain, I am joined by a legal practitioner, Tunji Abdulhamid, and of course, the President Ochitwak Idoma Youth Wing World, Mike Alidu. Gentlemen, good evening, and thank you so much for joining us on the news. Well, Tunji, can you please unmute your device so that we can hear you?
Thank you for having me.
All right, and Mike too, I want to believe that we have audio quality from your end too. But then let me start with Tunji for now. Now, does a constituted committee by a House of Representatives have the power to summon democratically elected governors over a matter?
Yeah, I think the committee are representative of the entire House, and they are working for the House. And in that analogy, I think they should be able to summon the governor of a state. They are representing the entire constituency in the country, and being a committee, a stand committee set up by the House of Assembly, the House of Rep. They have the power to do that. The National Assembly, the House of Representatives, or the Senate has the power to summon anybody. to inquire on any issue that has to do with the Nigerian situation regarding security or whatever they make a provision for budget for them.
Well, I don't know what constitutional law, part of the section of the Constitution that actually backs that. But then the committee is also somewhat threatening to take over the constitutional functions of Zamfara and Benue State Assembly. So is such a takeover also backed by the Nigerian Constitution?
Yeah, you see, the one I said earlier on, there is no clear provision of that committee. He said the House of Representatives or National Assembly can do that. So, and being the committee being part of the House of Representatives, they should have the power to do the work of the. In fact, they have been delegated to work on behalf of the Assembly rep. But let me say regarding that's if you look at Section 88, 89 of the Constitution, they talk as regard the power of the National Assembly to summon anybody for any issue regarding where they have the power to make a provision for them. Regarding the summoning by the House of Rep or the request to take over the what's it called House of Assembly. Yes, Section 11 of the Subsection 4 of the Constitution of Nigeria empowers the National Assembly to take over the House of Assembly of a state, where the House of Assembly in that state is unable to perform its function. In other words, where they are unable to hold meeting or they are unable to transact business of the house due to circumstances in that state. So in that regard, they can take over the assembly of the state by taking their responsibility. But whenever they take that over that house, that does not give them the power to remove or impeach, what we call impeachment, to remove the governor of the state. Their function is limited to doing the job of the House Assembly regarding whatever they want, a solution and other thing that will be needed for the good governance of the state. They have, like I said, in summary, by Section 11 of Subsection 4 of the Constitution, empowers the National Assembly to take over the roles of the House of Assembly wherever they are unable to perform their function.
All right, so to just stay with me for a while, I need to bring Mike into this. I mean, he's the president, Ochetoak Idoma Youth Wing Worldwide. That is Mike Alido. I'm told that he has also joined this conversation. Good evening to you. Hello, Mike. Can you please unmute and say something?
Yes, good evening. Thanks for...
All right, thank you so much for joining us. So let's look at it from the security angle. I mean, governors are the chief security officers of their states or their jurisdiction. Now, in Benue, Zamfara, Borno states, and other hotbeds in the country, would you say that these governors are actually failing in their duties?
My network.
Hello, Mike. Okay, I think we just lost communication with Mike right there, but then we are still going to try as much as possible to bring him on board. So, Tunji, we'll still go over the legal aspect now. Admittedly, now, there is a political tussle in the two states, looking at Zamfara and, of course, the Benue states and the legislative houses. Now, based on the rule of law, what legal procedure should guide the address of a state's legislative crisis?
You see, the crisis we have in our country these days is not normal or the one that is expected even by the Constitution. The Constitution did not envisage a situation whereby some members of the House of Assembly will be suspended and they also go back to another place, go and gather themselves, and again suspend the other faction of the Assembly. You know, we are creating a situation in this country that is not even known to our law, and that is why sometimes it's difficult to even provide any solution to an issue of law regarding this circumstance. Some of them are abnormal, some of them are not in line with our law. So there's a conundrum in that regard, because as it is now, what I hear is that there are two out of assembly sitting now. There is a faction, one faction sitting differently, another one sitting differently. So in other words, there are divisions in the House of Assembly. Whether that division will amount to them being unable to perform their function is another question to be answered. Apparently, they are sitting, but they're not sitting as one. That's another question to be determined. To determine whether or not that has amount to inability to perform their role as Assembly. For me, we are creating unnecessary circumstances in the country. We are creating a situation whereby we want to use the rule of might rather than the rule of law. And that's why we are having what we are having. As long as we are not complying with the rule of law in this country, this is the kind of thing we are going to be seeing. Yes, if there's an insecurity, if there's a problem on ground, or there are suspensions of certain members of that, that can take the proper step to overturn that suspension. They will not do that. They will go and set up their own assembly and start working in that regard. It's unfortunate.
Finally, now, the chairman of the committee presiding over this matter referred to the 10th House agenda in presiding over state's legislative crisis. I mean, what does that even mean? And how can that help in any way solve the political crisis, particularly in Zamfara State?
I'm not too sure of what they meant by the 10th agenda. I'm not too sure of that. But like I said, what I know is that Section 11 of the 4 of the Constitution empowers the National Assembly to take over the role of the Assembly where there's a crisis or whether they are unable to perform their function. It didn't say crisis. Say where they are unable to perform their function. And that's why I said there's a dilemma, there's a conundrum as to whether or not those people are able to perform their function. I am not too sure of what they meant by 10th
House agenda. Okay, no problem.
I don't know what they meant by that.
Okay, Tunji Abdulhamid, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us.
Thank you for having me. It's my pleasure.
Yeah, you're welcome. Let's now quickly talk to Mike. He's in the face of this crisis, particularly in Benue State. Mike, are you there?
Yes, I'm with you.
Okay, fantastic. So earlier on, I was saying that, governors are chief security officers of their states. And when you look at Benue, Zamfara, Borno State, and some other hotbeds in the country, would you say that these governors are actually failing in their duties when it comes to securing their states?
I may not use the word failing. Is that the governors are not living up to expectation. Because recently, when one of the presidential aides we are discussing, they said the governor has refused to use what was given to them to fight this insecurity. At least between 1 to 3 billion naira is given to every governor to ensure that they protect lives and properties in their various states. And then when you come to that, the resources are being underutilized. And it is true that the security of everyone is in our hands this time because our security agencies are not enough to carry out these activities. But we can resort to community policing because within our local environment, if the governors could put in resources, mobilize youths, we can as well live up to expectation to ensure that incentives are being given to young men to ensure that to curb the insecurities in our various states. The fact is that the governors are not engaging the youth at all, and they are not giving enough allocation to the security agencies. And I think that is the problem.
Some people say that even these security votes or these funds that they get are grossly inadequate. Or is it that the governors mismanage these funds? Aside having to engage the youths, we need to understand the fundamentals why they're not able to tackle insecurity within their domain.
I think the whole thing is centered on mismanagement because tackling insecurity involves having the political will to ensure that you live up to expectation. And when these resources get to the governors, we don't see the effectiveness. Of course, we have seen other governors before now that try to take the insecurity of their various states as a priority. And if it is not taken as a priority, it simply means the resources are being underutilized. And I think if you say being underutilized, I believe that that is mismanagement of these funds that is causing these challenges mainly. Because if resources are adequately put to use, it simply means people will come out, security agencies will be able to do their jobs. You will be there in a situation whereby the security agencies cannot even come with full ammunitions. Like in my place in Nagatu, for instance, you will see police not even having the AK-47. They have these tear gas guns. What can that do to insurgents? You cannot help. So I believe that it is under management. I was in Nagatu the other time. The security complained that from February last year till December last year, the allowances were not paid. So if incentives are not given, if they're not properly taken care of, it simply means they cannot fight insecurity. I think that is the major challenge.
All right, the other side of this conversation has to do with the governors not having express command over the security architecture as this ultimately, answerable to the power at the center. So should there be some sort of probably amendments of the Constitution to give more authority to the governors over security logistics if we are not going to see the ratification of state police in the country?
The government has enough power to fight insecurity already. If you give them more powers to take over the securities from the power of the center, it simply means the governors will be more uncontrollable. The governors have local vigilante in every state. And if you see, the local hunters and vigilante can go a long way in curbing insecurity because they know the terrain even more than the military personnel. They know the terrain more than the police. So if the government are ready to fight insecurity, what they need to do is to involve community policing in the sense that they involve their local vigilantes, they involve their local youth leaders so that we can organize ourselves and wage this war against this group of marauders who is becoming a very great challenge to Nigerians. Because a lot of youth are ready, but there is nothing to go, there's nothing to use in forging ahead. And there's every need that the governors, within their powers, approve some prompt actions for reasonable use who are ready and volunteering to curb this insecurity by fighting back. The only way we can stop this thing is to fight back, because we cannot fold our hands and watch our lands and our property being destroyed, our lands being taken away from us, and our livelihood being tampered with.
Well, of course, concerted efforts are actually needed to actually deal with insecurity issues around these states. We hope that the government will take that initiative. Mike Alidu, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us. Let's go on a break on the news. When we return, aides of suspended Rivers governor deny FCT media allegations linking him to disruption of the First Lady program. We'll bring you more details when we're back. Join us again. Many thanks for staying with us. We tell you that President Bola Tinubu has pledged stronger collaboration with the Katsina state government to boost agricultural mechanization and food security across the state. President Tinubu made this pledge during his first official visit to Katsina State, where he commissioned the state's newly built agricultural mechanization center and a 24-kilometer dual carriageway. He described mechanized farming as a vital investment, assuring residents of the federal government's commitment to their progress. Jamil Mabai tells us more.
A historic welcome for President Tinubu in Katsina. His first official visit since assumption of office. Despite security challenges, residents turned out in large numbers to get a glimpse of the president. Joined by Governors Babagana Zulum, Obasani, APC Chairman Abdullahi Ganduje, and other dignitaries.
I want to congratulate
President Tinubu praised Governor Ratner's achievement in 2 years.
you. Are seeing the result. With strong determination and great effort that you have committed into the programs of rebuilding Katsina State, you will not walk alone.
He commissioned the new Agricultural Mechanization Center, equipped with 400 tractors, 10 harvesters, and 6,000 solar-powered pumps to boost productivity.
Your Excellency, Mr. President, Katsina State is an agrarian state, and most of our people depend on agriculture for their livelihood. We have over 450,000 small farmers in the state, with an average land size of 2.5 hectares, most of whom really rely on government to support to produce profitably and sustainably.
What we are commissioning is effort to banish hunger, commitment to food sovereignty, great empowerment for our people, small and large-scale farmers.
At a banquet, Governor Radda reiterated the state's commitment to tackling insecurity with federal backing.
The only thing that is lacking, they don't have superior weapons. They are using pop action, and the bandits are using AK-47. If there should be any collaboration between our community watch, along with the Nigerian army and the police, it will have made the job much easier, and it will support and help our people. Your Excellency, we need your support in that direction.
In Katsina, for News Central, Jamil Mabai.
Now I'll tell you that the Renewed Hope Empowerment Program, organized by the First Lady Remi Tinubu, encountered a significant disruption in Port Harcourt, Rivers State on Friday. The event erupted into chaos when the wife of the Rivers State sole administrator stepped up to address the women, contrary to their expectations of hearing from the First Lady Remi Tinubu. The attendees staged a walkout chanting, "We want Remi Tinubu," and rejecting the substitute speaker.
Let us be very clear that the most important thing in life, in any aspect of life, is the truth. The truth must always be spoken. The women that staged a walkout are the people that Ibas had earlier referred to as supporters, or some Rivers women who are testing his patience. The Rivers Women Unite for SIM is a group of women across all the 23 local government areas since 2023 minimum, that have come together every single week, mostly in Adakaboro Park, but every 4 weeks or a bit more, they gather in a larger environment and do praise and worship. Their aim is to pray for peace and equity in Rivers State.
In the meantime, the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has apologized to Presidents Bola Tinubu and the First Lady Oluremi Tinubu after women loyal to Rivers Governor Siminalayi Fubara staged a walkout during an empowerment event in Port Harcourt. Wike condemned the incident as a show of shame, calling it an insult to the President and First Lady. The walkout occurred after the women, reportedly replaced on the program list by Wike loyalists, left the venue. In a statement issued from China through his aide, Wike accused the suspended governor, Fubara, of sponsoring the disruption and acting against peace efforts. He, however, urged Fubara to be honest about his intentions and stop undermining reconciliation attempts. Now, the Rivers State Office of the Renewed Hope Initiative has dismissed claims from the FCT Minister's Media Office linking the suspended governor, Siminalayi Fubara, to disruptions at the Renewed Hope Initiative Sustainable Development Goals Empowerment Program held in Port Harcourt. The office clarified that Governor Fubara, though on vacation, provided full support for the program, which was organized under the leadership of the First Lady, Oluremi Tinubu. The event proceeded successfully until a brief disruption during a speech by Theresa Ibas, wife of the Rivers State Administrator, whom attendees rejected as First Lady of the state. The Renewed Hope Initiative office described the allegations linking the governor to disruption as false and politically motivated, urging the public to disregard them. It reaffirmed the governor's strong backing for women's empowerment and praised the program's overall success. Let's now talk about World Press Freedom. As the world marks today, this year's theme, Time to Put AI on the Social Agenda, resonates strongly with journalists navigating the rapid integration of artificial intelligence into their profession. The focus on putting AI on the social agenda sheds light on the increasingly complex relationship between technology and journalism. News Central's Idbalani Omoni tells us more in this report.
In the years past, journalists relied solely on their creative and investigative skills to craft stories. But with the emergence of AI, the media landscape has changed dramatically. AI tools can now generate stories, analyze data, and produce content at unprecedented speed. While some view these as a breakthrough for efficiency and productivity, others are concerned it may erode the human touch that defines quality journalism.
AI cannot take my job. AI doesn't have the emotions, doesn't have the nitty-gritty, doesn't really understand the ethics of this profession.
On the other hand, many journalists see AI as a valuable tool to enhance their work. By automating routine tasks, AI allows reporters to devote more time to in-depth, investigative and nuanced storytelling.
I sent AI on an errand to help me write something. I look at it, I check it out as well, and I make use of it. AI is a tool that I use often in my work, makes my work easier and faster.
Apart from helping us to improve our work, it can enhance your editorial judgment. If you are a well-trained journalist, you begin to see, other side of issues, because sometimes you're unable to think through things, in a comprehensive fashion. You have an idea of what you want, but you're unable to put a finger to it.
However, one of the key challenges of AI in journalism is bias. Since AI systems are trained on existing data, they risk reflecting or even reinforcing biases embedded in that data. To counter these, integrating AI literacy into journalism training is becoming increasingly vital. In today's digital age, the journalist's role is evolving. While anyone can use AI to generate content, professional journalists contribute essential qualities such as ethical judgment, critical thinking, and editorial integrity that machines cannot replicate.
Well, I understand what is being said when we talk about fear, and you can really relate that fear to this aspect of doing things the ethical way. But I think at the end of the day, we probably have to look inwards and take a decision as to how we want to approach the work that we're doing and what results we want to come out with.
It is very possible to run an entire newsroom solely with AI. And let's say, for example, in best case scenario, you have, say, for example, fact-checking, maybe a system that prioritizes all the stories that are coming in from all the streams, can check and decide what works best at what time. It can be very efficient, from the actual presenters or newscasters who are AI generated to the lifelike audio that we can get now. It is possible, but we could decide as a people and say that we want to see to it that there's a balance.
As we commemorate World Press Freedom Day, it's evident that AI presents both opportunities and challenges for the media. By embracing AI education and learning to use these tools responsibly, journalists can elevate their work while safeguarding the core values of their profession. In Lagos for News Central, Igbalani Omoni.
Away from that, unemployment in Nigeria continues to be a significant challenge, with millions of young graduates facing limited job opportunities. The country's unemployment rate is expected to reach 4.84% by 2025, leaving around 3.9 million Nigerians without work. As the job market struggles to accommodate a growing number of graduates, many Nigerians are turning to alternative sources of income to survive. News Central's Wisianyo has more in this report.
With a highly educated and eager youth population, Nigeria's unemployment crisis is having a profound impact on the economy. From starting small businesses to seeking remote work, Nigerians are adapting to a harsh economic reality where jobs are limited and opportunities are few.
The reality is that the unemployment situation is extremely very bad. It cannot be anything around 5% or 3% or whatever. So for purpose of policy and data, I think what is important is to look at, what the geographical spread of those unemployment problem. To look at the challenges, the sectors that have the prospects to create more jobs, and what can we do to remove barriers in those sectors.
Many Nigerians are embracing entrepreneurship, using their skills and talents to create income-generating ventures. The agricultural sector, in particular, has seen a rise in people turning to farming, livestock rearing, and fishing. Recent figures from the National Bureau of Statistics show that over 70% of Nigeria's population is engaged in agriculture, with many now returning to the land as a means of survival.
The agricultural sector is a major employer of labor, and the challenge of insecurity has disrupted that sector significantly.
Most times when you see a job, they will tell you that your salary is 50,000, and inside 50,000 is not enough. So I motivated myself to just learn something. So this one is even more better.
I expect me after practicing, I should see an hospital that will just take us. We started working, but their pace is not okay. So that's the reason why I'm here.
This Nigeria now, everybody must try, because only man no fit carry this people, no fit survive everything now.
There is an urgent need for coordinated action, such as investment in skills development, support for small businesses, and policies that foster innovation.
But the responsibility of government is to create environment, the policy environment, the macroeconomic environment, so that whatever money you have will have value. Once you create the environment, it is left for the young people to now think that, okay, this is the environment, what can I do?
While many Nigerians are finding creative ways to sustain themselves, the need for long-term solutions remains pressing. Experts are calling for immediate government intervention to create more sustainable job opportunities and address the root causes of unemployment. In Lagos, for News Central, Sewisi Anya.
Now, as part of International Women's Day commemorations, community dialogues have sparked calls from men urging women to align their spending habits with the prevailing economic conditions. During a forum discussion in Yobe State on supporting women, several men voiced concerns over financial pressures stemming from inflation, job losses, and the rising cost of living. News Central's Umar Kurawa completes the report.
A walk that brought together both men and women from across Maiduguri, the Borno State capital, sought to reinforce a message of inclusivity and progress. In the spirit of International Women's Day, men in Maiduguri used the occasion to open conversations about shared economic responsibility within households.
Na farko mun samu crisis da Boko Haram. Ana gama wannan aka zo aka yi gobara da ya kone Monday market nan. 90% yan kasuwar nan maza ne a cikin wannan kasuwar. Jarin su ya gode. Mun zo mun gama wannan ba mu ga warkewa ba kuma Allah ya sake kawo natural disaster muka samu flood. To kaga ire-iren wannan kalubalen da ya same mu. Lalle mun samu jarabawa babba da ya kamata matan mu su ringa overlooking. Kai ka zo da frustration kuma ta zo ta kara ba wani abu.
Ina advocating kuma ina holding ku organizers na wannan meeting din mu yi enlightening mutane sosai.
The men noted that while women's empowerment remains critical, there is the need for practical financial cooperation within the home. The event also featured women speakers who called for joint financial planning and encouraged couples to maintain open communication to weather the economic storm together.
Women continue to face barriers to education, economic opportunities, and healthcare. Let's listen to what I will say is that we should listen to women's voice, amplify their stories, and also support their leadership. We can only do that if we work together. We can create a world where women and girls are valued, respected, and empowered.
We are working to improve the community resiliency. That means most of the challenges are climate related. Most of the challenges are conflict related. So the project is working to address the root causes by using social inclusion, by using community engagement.
Women participants agreed that collaboration and mutual understanding are key to surviving tough times, while also pushing for increased financial literacy for both genders. In Maiduguri for News Central, Umar Kirawa.
Coming up on the news, Togolese President Faure Gnassingbé sworn in as leader of the country's Council of Ministers. We'll tell you more about this and other stories in a bit. Join us again. Togolese President Faure Gnassingbé was sworn in on Saturday as the president of the country's Council of Ministers after being appointed by the National Assembly, which is dominated by his political party, the Union for the Republic. In May 2024, Togo's constitutional amendment came into effect, formally switching the country from a semi-presidential to a parliamentary system. Under the new constitution, the president of Togo will be elected by a parliament in a largely ceremonial role for a 4-year term, renewable once. Now, Gabon's Brice Nguema took oath as president on Saturday near Libreville before about 40,000 people, including 16 African heads of state, after leading a 19-month transition government. The former junta leader, who ended more than 55 years of Bongo family rule in the country, was sworn in with his right hand on the constitution, which was approved by a referendum in November 2024. The inauguration was held at Libreville's 40,000-seat Angonje Stadium, marking the first time a presidential ceremony will take place before such a large public audience in Gabon. In business, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has launched an investigation into alleged abuse of office and misappropriation of funds by 14 former senior officials of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited. The probe focuses on the alleged mismanagement of $2.896 billion allocated for refinery rehabilitation projects. The EFCC has requested documentation, including salary records and emoluments, from NNPCL Limited to aid in the investigation. This probe follows President Bola Tinubu's dissolution of the NNPC Limited board and the appointment of a new management team. A forensic audit of NNPC is also reportedly underway. Up next is sports news.
In the world of sport, Chess in the Slums Africa Team A emerged champions of the maiden edition of the Chess Masters Team Championship held in Lagos, clinching the top prize of 3 million naira after finishing unbeaten in 5 rounds and securing the highest tiebreak score. The team, comprising of Kesibeji Denny, Mahuzon C. Edwin, Edenwe Jonas, and Ehutin Augustine, outperformed over 40 other schools in the tournament. Home Science Association Okoba and Dokwaolu Children Land School claimed the second and third position respectively, earning 2 million naira and 1 million naira in prize money. Convener Damilola Okonkwo described the event as a transformative initiative aimed at building critical thinking, problem-solving and decision-making skills in children beyond just playing chess. Special guest and Guinness World Record holder Tunde Onokoya commended the impact of such platforms in nurturing young talent, reinforcing his belief that with the right support, talent can strive anywhere.
Every single one of these children have taken part in this game and really enjoyed it. This is more than just a competition. This is a celebration of resilience, a celebration of problem solving, a celebration of strategic thinking. And we're seeing our children excel in so many different ways. So we're not only celebrating the game of chess and competing, but we're also celebrating each and every one of the children taking part today.
The end game really is to continue to platform talent. Talent is universal, but opportunity isn't, which is why tournaments like this are important to create opportunities for children that have incredible talent to show us what they can do, right? And of course, to take this locally, to the global stage, which is the real goal, right? To ensure that we can nurture the right talent and take them internationally to become masters, and challenge some of the best in the world as well.
Kenya's Koros Ken won the first Enugu City International Marathon, earning $15,000 in a dominant performance that saw Kenyans sweep both the male and female categories. Steve Rossway and Bennett Sang secured second and third position in the men's race, taking home $10,000 and $5,000 respectively. In the women's category, Kenya's Shaolin Chepkuri Koich claimed the first place. Among Nigerian runners, Devo Ezekiel from Jos emerged the top local finisher, receiving 3 million naira. The marathon drew over 100 elite international athletes and thousands of Nigerian participants. Governor of Enugu State, Peter Mba, joined the 10-kilometer race and praised the event's high turnout, organization, and international standard, calling it a major success for Enugu's sport calendar. World record holder Tobia Musa improved her season's best to 12.66 seconds to finish fourth in the women's 100-meter hurdles at the Kichao Diamond League. The world record holder showed progress after last week's performance but missed the podium. Grace Stack of the United States won the race in a meeting record of 12.42 seconds. Meanwhile, South Africa's Akani Simbine extended his unbeaten run in the men's 100 meters, securing victory in 9.98 seconds. He narrowly edged Jamaica's Kishan Thompson, who clocked 9.99 seconds. The result marks back-to-back wins for Akani Simbine this season and confirms his strong form heading into the summer. Finally, in the world of sport, the Nigerian Football Federation, led by President Ibrahim Guzo, has paid a condolence visit to the family of late footballer icon Christian Chukwu in Enugu State. Represented by the NFF First Vice President, Felice Ayansiagu, Guzo hailed Chukwu as a patriotic leader who gave all for the Nigerian football. The visit aimed not only to offer condolences, but also to align with the family's burial plans. Chukwu's son, Emeka, expressed gratitude, revealing that the burial arrangements will soon be announced. The Nigerian Football Federation delegation include top football officials from the Southeast, reflecting Chukwu's enduring legacy as captain and MVP of the Nigerian victorious 1980 African Cup of Nations team, and a symbol of national pride. And that's it in the world of sport. I am Onyinyechi Obaro.
And that's all at this hour, but before we go, we'll look at our top stories again. House of Representatives has summoned Benue Zamfara governors over state security crisis. And as the world marks World Press Freedom Day, there are calls to navigate the rapid integration of artificial intelligence into journalism. We also told you that Gabon's ex-junta chief, Brice Ngema, has been sworn in as president after landmark victory at the polls. Don't forget to send your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number on the screen, and you can follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. Watch us live on DSTV channel 422, Go TV channel 23, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Lekon Onobanjo.